Are you considering moving to Leduc? I'm going to talk about the 5 most frequently asked questions I get about the community. Please make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe, and hit that little bell icon so that you don't miss any future videos. Please make sure to go check out my latest video about the city of Leduc and everything it has to offer. My name is Jesse with the Loaded Real Estate Group at eXp Realty, otherwise known on all social handles as Live, Love, Leduc. And today we are going to talk about the 5 most frequently asked questions I get about the city of Leduc. These are all questions that anybody would need or want to know if they're considering making a move. So of course you're going to go look for the right house and be close to the right school and make sure you have enough bedrooms and square footage and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to talk about things that affect you on a day-to-day basis. As many of you know, and if you don't know, I'm about to tell you, Leduc is literally next door to the Edmonton International Airport. This is a large airport with international destinations. It's very, very busy. So the number one question I get is, do you hear all the airplanes? The short answer is not really. Okay, so you have to understand how the runways work at the Edmonton International Airport for you to fully comprehend this. So there's 2 main runways at Edmonton International. One comes in essentially directly from the north. So it's flying over South Edmonton and landing at the airport in Leduc. The other runway kind of comes from the northeast. So certain parts of Leduc, you definitely hear the air traffic more than others. A few neighborhoods where you're going to hear them more than others is a couple of the more mature communities over in South and North Telford on the east side. But if you go north of there, it's really just all industrial and retail, so there's really nothing to worry about. A couple other communities on the far southeast side, like the community of Robinson, you can also hear it a little bit there as well. More so when planes are taking off and they're taking a heavy bank to the south, you're going to hear some of that air traffic. But for the most part, the airport is located just north of Leduc, and everything's coming in from the north. Okay, so we're south of that. We're not really hearing much of that noise. In fact, one of the neighborhoods called Bridgeport physically backs onto airport land, and I know people who live there. And aside from the huge military cargo planes that are occasionally at the airport, you don't really hear the planes much at all. In fact, I used to live on the far south side of Edmonton, directly underneath a flight path coming into that north runway, and I would hear the planes more in South Edmonton than I do in Leduc now. Okay, so number 1, do you hear the airplanes? Really not that bad. Number 2, are the homes cheaper? If you go back and look at one of my last videos I did, I break this down into further detail, but the answer is yes. Homes are cheaper in the city of Leduc than they are in Edmonton, and we're only a short 10-12 minute drive away from the south side. Up to about 17% cheaper, and compared to some neighborhoods, it even gets into the 25% cheaper. So it does depend on a lot of factors when we're talking about home values, but yes, Leduc, your dollar will go further. Question number 3 is, how bad is the traffic? Well, my short answer is, it's laughable. There's really no traffic. I would say that rush hour in the city of Leduc really has nothing to do with people's commute home from work. It more has to do with school pickup. Leduc is a very young community. I haven't checked the stats recently, but a short time ago, I think the average age when you encompass everybody in the city of Leduc was somewhere around 36 years old, which means there are tons of kids. So you know it's a family-friendly community. So that means that school pickup can be busy. There are a number of different schools in the city of Leduc. All of the start and end times to those schools are staggered, and that has more to do with busing than anything, which I actually talk about in another video. If you're interested in that, be sure to go check it out. However, really outside of the school pickup time, let's say between 2:45 and 3:45, it can get a little bit congested around the schools, but for the most part, there's almost no traffic. It is laughable. Even the city of Edmonton, when you're thinking about 1 million people, traffic flows pretty good. So I guess it depends on what you're comparing it to. If you're comparing Leduc to Millet, well then yeah, you're not, the traffic's crazy. But really for a population the size we have and geographically the size of the city that we have, traffic is not bad at all. Question number 4 is what is there to do there? What activities do the locals do? Well, I'm going to rattle off a few things for you, and hopefully you're going to be into some of this stuff. So one of the coolest things I think Leduc has is called Telford Lake. Now, I do think that the city can be a little bit more forward thinking when it comes to this great resource that we have. And I think some future development around this kind of nice centerpiece of the city is required. However, as it stands right now, Telford Lake is this really long, skinny lake over just on the east side of Leduc. There's actually a 10-kilometer paved loop that goes all the way around it. So it's kind of a mix of nature going through trees and things like that on a nice level paved path. As well as going through a little bit of a couple different neighborhoods and things. So it's a really, really great spot. There's also a rowing club there. You can do stand-up paddleboarding there, things like that. So Telford Lake is a really, really cool spot. Lots of bird watching, things like that. Right kind of in the heart of Leduc. Aside from that 10-kilometer trail, Leduc is chock full of walking trails. As I mentioned before, Leduc is mostly 20 years old or newer. And in all of these newer communities, they all kind of have similar things. But one of the main things is walking trails. There's a ton of trails through all of these new neighborhoods, and the multi-way system in Leduc is quite robust. You can get anywhere through these walking trails in Leduc, whether it's on bike, skateboard, rollerblading, walking, with the baby stroller, whatever. There's tons of walking trails throughout the city of Leduc. We have a really great golf course. Full disclosure, I am a member there, so I guess I'm sort of biased, but I absolutely love the Leduc golf course. It's a challenging yet semi-friendly course, so a wide range of players can play it. It's affordable, it's nice looking, it's really well taken care of, and they have a beautiful new clubhouse that opened up about 2 years ago. Really great restaurant. We got virtual sim bays. So for our long winters, you can still tee it up with your friends. It's a really great way to kill a few hours. I suggest going there on Hockey Night in Canada, teeing it up during that boring first Toronto Maple Leafs game, and then bam, straight into the Oilers game starting at 8 o'clock. Have yourself a night. Aside from those things, we have an outdoor pool. We have numerous hockey rinks, of course, like every Canadian city does. The rec center opened, I guess it's been about 15 years ago now, but it's a really, really great rec center. We have 3 different hockey sheets of ice. We've got a pool, a water slide, field houses, lacrosse, like there's all sorts of stuff going on in there. It also kind of doubles as like an event center as well for lots of trade shows and they have a gaming and esports gaming tournament there. Lots of stuff that goes on at that rec center. And every spring we also have the Black Bull Rodeo, which is a huge event that comes with the fair and the rodeo and all those kinds of things that come with your typical small town fairs. That happens every spring. It's really great as well. There's a skate park, there's ball diamonds, there's soccer fields. There's lots of things to do within the city of Leduc itself. But remember, we're only a short drive away from Edmonton as well. So if biking in a river valley is more your jam, you're only a few minutes away and away you go. We're also really close to the North Saskatchewan River. If you go towards Devon, lots of really great stuff out there. So we're like nice and central, so we can get anywhere very, very quickly. Elk Island is only about a 35-minute drive, Elk Island National Park. It's really awesome. And we're about an hour and a half or less to like 4 or 5 lakes. So if you're into boating or jet skiing or things like that, you want to go to the beach, we got Pigeon Lake, we got Gull Lake, we got Wizard Lake, even Sylvan Lake, Wabamun. There's lots of lakes. Like I said, like an hour and a half at the most would be like Sylvan Lake. Some of them are only about a 30-minute drive away. So there's lots of options there if you are into the lake scene. And question number 5 is restaurants. Now, of course, I'm here to pump up the city of Leduc and talk about all the great things. If I could, one thing that I think Leduc is a little bit lacking in is the restaurant and food scene. That doesn't mean there aren't some great restaurants in the city of Leduc. I just think we could do a better job of kind of boosting up the foodie restaurant scene. I love a good meal, and it's one of the things that I hope will improve over time. Having said that, there are some really great options. So of course you got your typical like chain style restaurants. We got the Brew House and the Original Joe's and Boston Pizzas and those kinds of things, as well as like smaller places, the Ito Japans and the Mucho Burritos, and of course all the fast food. We got all that stuff, right? There's tons of options when it comes to the franchise type restaurants, but there is also some really great sort of more mom and pop type places as well. You got Cosmos, you got Zambelli's, you got Habaneros, the Mexican joint. It's one of my favorites in town. So there is a really good mix of restaurants in the city, and I hope that it continues to improve as we go forward. So there you go. If you're thinking about making a move to the city of Leduc, I would love to help you out with that. If you have any questions, make sure to comment below or send me a message anytime. I'd be more than happy to chat with you about it. I really do appreciate you watching. Please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. As a small business owner, it would help me out tremendously. And go check out some of my other videos about Leduc and about real estate in general. And I hope we'll see you next time.